long way in mitigating some of this, but believe me, is a hell lot of money that is going to be junked into it. Is able to identify those individuals which are already known by them, by the federal government. There is nothing going to come out from it. But what we are trying to tell the government to address this issue is let the community own this problem. And the federal government is their responsibility now to, to inculcate the trusts and confidence in the minds of public so that the public can now own this as a problem, as their own problem. Believe me, the role of this informant, the role of this bandits, Boko Haram, and whatsoever will drastically be reduced. But if the federal government is doing one thing at the other side, the community are doing one thing at the other side, this is going to be a kind of a blame game and nothing will come out of it. But let the community be part and parcel of the problem. Let them own it. And how does that going to happen? Is the federal government now responsibility to inculcate the trusts and confidence in the minds of the public so that they can own it as a problem, as their own problem. Believe me, it will drastically mitigate this issue of insecurity.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, now let's come to you, Comrade Chuba, this morning on the issue of insecurity. What do you have to say concerning the installation?
And in fairness to us as a people, we must decide to see this is what exactly we want as a people. The only way to go is not about CCTV cameras. Mr. Sanis any different faction. It's about community policing. I want to talk about community policing for those in the political sphere. Political leaders, they are clamoring for state policing. But we have a federal government and we have a political class who takes more of their pockets, more of themselves than the people. Excuse me. If we must be fair to ourselves, truth be told, as it is today, in every community where you go for occasions, you must see some people that are funny. They say they are not mad people, they are not crazy, but they just come to the middle of the occasion and start dancing. As I say, it is something that is like a trend in the African setting. Obviously, we have strong men, funny people who believe they are strong men all over the places as community security leaders. In the light of that, when people are connected with the problem, when a person believes that this is my community and I'm saddled with the responsibility of safeguarding it, and I am certain it is, if there's a blame, it does not go to Abuja. Nobody does the filing to Abuja. Everybody does the filing directly to the state and to your community at large. Everybody now is saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that we do the needful. What's the needful? The needful is, we saw permit me to digress a little, we saw a typical Michi who brought in security experts to River State, who trained them. And after the training and all of that, they were taken from here to Zamfara, Kanu, and all of that. Whereas where they were trained and the examples they were offered to give them a guide for what you do does not fall in line with the geographical location where they were taken to. Now we have a state we know, without mincing words, that many governors will definitely abuse to a gross extent state police. The powers they already have, some of them are already abusing it grossly. But we cannot in good conscience say we want to fight corruption and allow ourselves to be playing politics with it. Every governor must be made to understand your tenure is 8 years. And these what's it called? These powers that they've got will elapse after 8 even if a governor uses to abuse a system for 8 years, 8 years is a lengthy time, but trust me, it's equally a very short time. But going forward, if we must be sincere about fighting insecurity and wanting to get results out of it. So, but I'm talking about CCTV camera. What's the benefit of CCTV camera? Capturing the activities of anyone that does anything within the perimeter, of an environment. But what we are saying now is, this is a government who has on our table, the Interpol has given us a list of people that are sponsors of terrorism in Nigeria. We don't need CCTV camera on this matter. We have their names. We know these persons. They high profile persons. But we have reasons whatsoever not to profile them or shame them in public domain or make people to be alienated from them or give them some sanctions that will be generally understood by the Nigerian populace. But we say we will not shame them in public. It's an antics or a pattern in government. This is an insane government. Whether we want to make excuses for it, it is our call. But trust me when I say, in fairness to the consciences of the people of this administration and our supporters, they are insincere, they are incompetent, and if I go further to say, they are in one way or the other accomplices of the many insecurities we have as a people.
All right, we'll come back to that. Let's quickly get to you, Patience.
And now the question is, aside from the installation of CCTV cameras and perimeter fencing, what other ways would you suggest to the government in tackling the issue of insecurity aside from the decision of using CCTV cameras?
Hello, Mr. Bala. That's a question for you.
Okay, yes. I think the recruitment of committed individual to be man in the police, in the army, in the civil defense will go a long way in reducing this issue. Secondly, we are now moving from local to national, from national to international. Now the global trends now, you don't fight an enemy with just a mere guns, a mere speculation, a mere this and that. Let there be a solid intelligence gathering, recruitment of enough personnel, because if you look at it now, we have less than 370 put together all the security personnel in Nigeria, manning more than 200 million population, which is very corny. So aside this provision of enough and sophisticated modern weapons, then asymmetric warfare, that is technology. We don't use this local issue in fighting this insurgency, but use technology, surveillance, intelligence gathering, very important. So I think if this can be geared towards addressing this issue of insecurity, it will certainly go a long way in not only mitigating, but to reduce it to drastic minimal level.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Bala. Christopher.
All right, thank you. So I also want to find out, where does security orientation come in play right now? Looking at the defense and all the other security effort that's been put in place, the orientation, talking to the teachers, the students, school proprietors, and all of that, how do that come into place right now?
Yes, what we are saying is, like I said earlier, is that if the government now is just, all this problem is lack of political will. If there is a political will, there is confidence in the minds of public. There is trust in the mind of public. And this alone can now motivate the community, motivate the society to now have a kind of ownership of a particular issue, which is security. The community now own it themselves, so that as the government is doing their own, there is going to be also a synergy between the community, the government, and other security apparatus that are put in place to address this issue. But now that we have lost confidence in the government, there is no political will in the government, no trust by the community on the government, is very difficult until you come back and try to reactivate these strategies, these stages. Things would have been very chaotic in nature.
All right, let's quickly go to another story this morning. And this is on 2023 election. We will work hard, even harder, to deliver the 2023 elections. This is INEC. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has promised to deliver best ever general elections in Nigeria. In Nigeria in 2023, this INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, gave the assurance when he received delegations of the International Republican Institute, IRI, and that of the National Democratic Institute, NDI, in Abuja. He said the meeting was the first that INEC was hosting after Saturday's governorship election in Osun, and assured that it would improve on its successes in subsequent elections. We are encouraged by your kind words, but there is still a lot of work to do. We assure you that we will continue to work not only hard, but even harder to deliver the 2023 general elections. As for the preparations for the 2023 general elections, I want to assure you that we promised Nigerians that Ekiti was going to be good, and Ekiti was a good election. Earlier, Mr. Frank LaRose, Secretary of State for Ohio, U.S., and leader of the delegations, commended INEC on its various efforts at improving on the conduct of elections in Nigeria. We'll come back to you on the issue of election security, Mr. Bala, but let me quickly come to you now, Chuba. INEC will work harder, even harder, to ensure that we give Nigerians better elections. Now, we have seen Osun, we have seen Ekiti states. No doubt we should relatively give it to INEC. But we have over 30 states or 29 states, if I'm not mistaken, that they are going to be conducting elections for in 2023. Do you think this is a reality when it comes to delivering excellent or best election in 2023?
Without mincing words, INEC has done when you look at the Ekiti elections, the Osun elections, there are some very silent points I want to look at. One of the silent points, the fact that the sensitive materials of INEC were not domiciled in the CBN because there is this quote and unquote this funny look at the CBN for the now. This present administration is a colossal damage to the psyche of the Nigerian people. Before the 2015 elections, there was a Lawal who was the CSO to the campaign of then Major Muhammad Buhari. When, after the campaign, he made him the director of the DSS, which is against the ethics of politics. Security personnel and possible stakeholders of systems are not supposed to be partisan. But because they had a dummy or a dormant opposition with free, Lawal became the director of DSS, upon which we have gone from there to an Emefiele, who is the governor of CBN and has clearly made himself a card-carrying member of a political party. We have an AGF who is a card-carrying member of a political party. And now, because of these brahas that were raised by the populists, not the opposition, listen, it is not about PDP, Labour or anything. These oppositions are dummies, and we have a political cabal and a class that are birds of a fellow, flourishing together under the guise of this is our time or is our enjoyment. Let's just keep flexing. It's turn by turn, and when it gets our turn, we do our thing. Hence, to the Nigerian populace, the civil society organization, SERAP, that stood their ground and called out these things. Now, the Osun election is seemingly a good election. The election is seemingly a good election. Whether there was vote buying or not, the people that sold their vote is their right. They sold their vote in line with their rights. Now, at the end of the day, the majority votes, so to speak, was announced as winners. Would that accumulate to the victory or losses of the candidates contesting for 2023 election? This is another kettle of fish. Okay. Very fairly for us, I must put it straight to you that, trust me, 36 states of the nation with INEC knowing fully well. You heard the INEC commissioner speak on Monday, telling the world how difficult it is going to be. We don't have any other better place to keep sensitive materials in respect to election. I do not see INEC, if nothing is done between now and the general elections, giving us the result of the Nigerian people, because we know that it is not about Chuba or you and I coming to tell the federal government that Emefiele and Malami should have long exited their offices if we had credible oppositions in this nation. But we don't. We have people who are piling themselves. That is where the problem lies. Outside of that, I think INEC, kudos to them, they have decided to do the needful, and I think they are working assiduously to see ensuring that the elections are credible. But trust me, the political class are yet to get on that same line.
Ade, I will come back to you quickly, but let me go to Mr. Bala right now. Election security is one area that a lot of people, a lot of Nigerians are super concerned about, considering the issues, major security issues around Nigeria right now, from the south to the east and north and the west of the country. However, INEC few days ago was also saying that they are yet to conclude on logistics for the 2023 election, that they are still having conversation with CBN on that. So there are no conclusions yet. When we talk about security of the smart devices now that we'll be using in the 2023 elections, one begins to wonder, where is INEC in this? Where are the security agencies? These are security agencies that over time they've told us that they are not very good with intelligence reports. When we talk about security, again, it's not just the physical security of the materials that will be used for the elections. We're also looking at the actual security, the cyber security in this case, to protect the results in terms of hacking and order. But you're the security experts. Kindly talk to us on what this indices looks like if nothing is done before 2023 elections. Mr. Bala.
Well, I have some fear here. My fear on this is that certainly there is going to be some compromising level of the security system, either the server, and again, there is going to be inaccessible areas during the election, which could be used by the unscrupulous individuals to rig election. And there is going to be no-go area for the INEC officials and other ad hoc staff to conduct election, which also tantamount to either rigging or inconclusive election. And again, there is going to be shortage of the security personnel, which I believe will lump sum to be the one of the most difficult elections to be conducted in Nigeria. But as earlier mentioned, that if the federal government now can adhere to other rules of engagement, it will certainly address some of these problems, some of these unforeseen problems that may likely to arise. Be it as it may, you find another fear from the public that most of them have lost trust in voting now, and some they don't have political socialization. Some of the political parties were unable also to socialize, to familiarize their people with the voting system, the importance of the voting system. And again, I'm looking also at it from the perspectives of other community community government engagement. There is no fora that will engage the community government and even the contestant in such a way that things will be in more harmonious and a conducive manner, in such a way that it will just give some confidence in the minds of public in the next coming election.
All right, thank you very much. Let's now go over to Patience.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ade. Now, on the 2023 election, with the recent election we had in Oshu State, would we now say that INEC is fully ready for the upcoming 2023 general election? Because there are a lot of reaction from the Oshu election that it was peaceful and free of any ballot snatching. So should we now say INEC is fully ready for the upcoming general election?
Comrade Chuba, please.
You can say INEC is fully ready, and for me, and when we say it's not being seen, we're not mising words. In fairness to us, by this time, if we had a system that is functional and political stakeholders that know their onuses, Malami should have left that office officially by virtue of people's complaints and demands. Same as Emefiele Godwin. They have no businesses in public offices because so far so good, those offices are so exalted and sensitive that their partisan level of politicking should not have been ever brought to the fore. But for the fact that they are partisan to this level and everybody now knows where their alineations are, I tell you, INEC can do all they want to do. But like INEC clearly said, they are still discussing with the CBN. If these things are not done before time, it might just become another arithmetic exercise. And the NSAS protest might just become the only option the people have got to ensure to the fact that our votes count, our demands are met. This is our decision. Outside of that, if we want to be docile like we've always been, the system we have in place, the federal government we have in place, has worked out modalities, put these things in play on a repeat mode. Because with this type of persons and characters still in the system, clearly showing their relations, we know for certain that if they dare do a free and fair election and someone else emanates, trust me, it's likely to be to have issues. But for where they are standing now, from their own standpoint, they definitely will want a continuation of what we've gotten already. Because unless INEC demands clearly, INEC is doing so much, and we will not put so much on Yakubu. Yakubu has failed at some point in time. Chiba has adjudged him so. But for now, we have a reason to applaud them and his leadership. If going forward, INEC wants to do anything different, it's for INEC to look at the federal government in the face and let her know the demands of the Nigerian people. Because so far, so good. Why are we talking about all of this? The burden lies upon INEC to know that the Nigerian people cannot feel confident enough to come out and vote. There will go to be a level of apathy if Godwin Emefiele sits there as the governor of Central Bank with all the sensitive materials put under his care, whereas we know there is an relations and what's it called? His support lies. So what I would like you to know, the need lies on all of us, lies on the opposition parties, lies on the INEC, but not on the federal government, because so far so good, the federal government is working assiduously to play on our minds to jettison these very serious issues. For me, I think I will keep on heralding it, and that's the only direction to take.
All right, Christopher.
All right, thank you. Now, looking at INEC coming to 2023 elections, saying that they work hard enough, do you think they've worked hard enough to cover the lapses in security coming this 2023 elections?
Mr. Bala.
Well, yes, it's not the work of the INEC to provide security. Rather, they work hand in hand to see to it that election is conducted peacefully But naturally, you have issues here and there. But that is why we say credible, credible, free, fair, and something like that. But what we are saying is that INEC, we need to also understand that the responsibility of INEC is collating, announcing. INEC might not be every nook and cranny, whether security compromise or non-security compromise, to see to it provides security for its personnel. It is the responsibility of the government now to deploy security to protect, guide the affairs of election and public during this election, to see to it is being conducted in a most peaceful environment. However, such can be done if other issues like this are put in place. One, for example, now the election of Osun is a pointer to the extent that the government was a little bit willing and deployed enough security personnel to protect the votes and the public, which it has done, and that is the result. And also the election of Osun have showcased the level of preparedness by the public to unseat the APC government in power. And again, it also showcases that certainly there will be some level of compromising standard in the case where they don't have enough personnel, and even where they have non-committed, unpatriotic security personnel. Certainly something fishy may likely to also happen. But overall issue, you see, we have in almost northwestern, southeast, north central issue, which might not likely to go down well with the INEC and the federal government in terms of conducting election. But if things should be put in place, I know the INEC chairman personally, he is my mentor, so I know he is not a compromising type. So he will see to it to do the needful.
All right, we'll take a short break right now. We'll come back to ATN, where we'll continue to blow out. It's still the Blowout show this morning, so stay with us. We'll be right back. In our time on ATN Icons. Here, we present you legends celebrated for their heroism in different fields and serve as role models today. ATN Icons, showing every Sunday 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Atlantic Television Network, StarTimes DTH channel 194, ATN Live on Google App Store, Facebook Atlantic Television Network, YouTube Atlantic Television Network, Instagram Atlantic TV Network, Twitter Atlantic TV Net. For sponsorship 0810-634-1777. ATN Icons, celebrating the giants of our time.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert.
back to ATN Blowout this morning, where we and our guests are blowing straight from the Atlantic on the very important issues and the national happenings. One issue that has continued to drag this long is the issue of ASU strike, and that is the next subject matter we are going to be looking at, where resolve issues with ASU, orders within 14 days. This is Buhari ordering Adamu here. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, to resolve the prolonged strike embarked upon by four university-based unions and report back to him in 2 weeks' time. President Buhari gave the directive on Tuesday after he received briefings from the relevant government ministries, agency, and department involved in resolving the face-off with the university unions. Recall that the Academic Staff Union of University ASU had proceeded on a one-month warning strike on February 14, and other unions also withdrew their services after that, as a result of the alleged inability of the federal government to meet up with their demands. The three other unions that embark on strike are the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities (SANU), the Non-Academic Staff Union of Allied and Educational Institutions (NASU), and the National Association of Academic Technologies (NAS). President Buhari summoned the Tuesday meeting to receive briefing from the government team on why the strike has lingered for too long. The president, after hearing from the relevant MDAs, directly involved, ordered the Minister of Education to ensure that the impasse was resolved within 2 weeks and report back to him. Now, sources at the meeting also said that President Buhari directed that the Minister of Labor and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, must be in any of the meeting to resolve the crisis. The sources further said that the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF boss Mustafa, should be part of the team to interface with the striking union. One of the sources also added that the president commended Ngige on his efforts so far to resolve the face-off. But let me quickly come to you now, Comrade Chuba, on this particular issue. What do you think President Muhammadu Buhari has not been in the known for this long, that this particular 2-week validatory exercise is calling for would do any good to the whole issue of ASU strike?
And one person who believes that, excuse me, and one person who believes that the president is a joke.
this. So now the question I want to ask is, so it has to take the president, the federal government, the unions, other unions threatening to go on strike and other things for them to bring up a means to stop this. Why should it take that long for it to happen this way? I just want to, because it's somehow.
Give or take, whether you like it or not, Chris, the obvious is this. Ayuba Waba, I've said it over and over again, and here is me saying it again. Ayuba Waba is not new to what we've got. Ayuba Waba is a same bedfellow flourishing with the at this present administration. Because we saw that to see to it that however it was a lie. I may go to say it was a lie. We had an administration in 2012 that was sincere in our processes to ensuring that we completely make away with the subsidy regime. But the payers of Ayuba Waba ensure that Ayuba Waba can galvanize the Nigerian people under the pretense of this is only what we've got from the Nigerian government and all of that. Therefore, subsidy must be sustained. We saw the potency of that strike. We saw the potency of that protest and that riot. Now today, Ayuba Waba says they want to protest. On what grounds? They are protesting without people joining the strike. The labor congresses are not closing up offices. They are just going to come and protest. It is another charade. For me, the 14 days, first and foremost, is too long. And the Nigerian people must start to see the insincerity as clear as you're hearing my voice. This government is so insincere, and she's doing nothing in line with the people's demands. And for me, give or take, I would say that we fought in entirety the 14 days, we fought in entirety the protocols and processes that have been put in place to ensuring the ending of this strike. This strike has no end in sight. Trust me when I say it. However, this politicizing of the process where there is another faction of ASU saying that they must go back to school against what the ASU is demanding not to go back to school. Outside of that, the federal government knows what they are doing. And I can keep saying, you cannot have people debating our lives when they are not living with us. It cannot work. Both the federal government team and the ASU team, none of their words are in Nigerian schools. So why would they want to call up the strikes? Their children are still schooling. The only ones that have any ill fate are the ones whose children were schooling in Ukraine. But trust me, outside of that, these people don't have any business with the Nigerian system. And until we regularize the health system and the educational system of public office holders, will continue to run on this long traffic that seemingly has no end and not even anywhere close, even with the 2023 election just at the corner.
Interesting. Let's hope some resolution is worked towards that end with the recent call for 2 week submission of a report. Right now, let's move on to issues concerning insecurity, where MASSOB seeks the disbandment of a Bubiago security outfit. The movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra has called for the disbandment of a Bubiago security outfit in Imo State over what it described as an atrocious killing. Report had it earlier that gunmen suspected to be operatives of Ebubuagu's security outfit allegedly opened fire and killed 7 wedding guests in Otulu town, Imo State on Sunday. While condemning the killing of the youth from Otulu town who were returning from a traditional marriage ceremony which Ebubuagu allegedly carried out, the pro-Biafra group said the security outfit was established to fight political enemies in Igbo land by the state governors. It added that since their establishment, Ebubuagu operatives had not engaged Islamic terrorists masquerading as herdsmen that have sacked so many villages and settlements in Igbo land. Instead, they were killing innocent youth. Masob, in a statement issued by its leader, Comrade Uchenna Madu, on Tuesday, said they, Ebubeagu, are primarily established as a witch-hunting outfit to fight political enemies and violent pro-Biafra agitators. Masob described the Ebubeagu security outfit as a Dracula evil, an agent of death established by Imo State government. Masob warns Governor Hope Uzodinma to immediately disband Ebubeagu security outfit now, or we shall see the activities in Biafra land as a declaration of internal war. The so-called Ebubeagu security outfit must cease their operation in Imo State now. That's according to Masob. Right now, let me take it to Mr. Bala. Mr. Bala was saying, you've heard basically everything concerning the Ebubeagu issue, and being a security expert, what's your say on this?
Well, actually, it's a pity that we are more of in a draconian society than the actual system. You see, one thing that is very clear with all of us is that the proliferation of these gangs, including the Masov, the Ibibiagu, the Boko Haram, the ISWA, the bandit, whatsoever nomenclature you can use, is a kind of incapacitation on the side of the government. The constitution is clear; it spells out rules and responsibility of every segment within which one is allowed to flow. And I see no reason why the government is trying to allow such a smaller unit to create itself within a government. It's a government within government, which is unconstitutionally done. And I will blame the federal government since its wake-up calls on the issue of state security that have been in place there for a very long time, which the federal government had done nothing to address this issue. And that is why the coming of this a smaller unit within unit is of a political intention based on the will and wishes of every governor. And the issue clearly spelling that the governor is the chief executive security officer of the state is a kind of excavating after littering, that you have given him this name, but constitutionally he doesn't have any role to play. He is not in control of the army, neither he is in control of the police, and no control of the civil defense in the states. So what are you doing? It's a contradiction. So it's a time now for the government to wake up. Otherwise, before or immediately after 2023, whosoever wins and is not in concomitant with the will and aspirations of those smaller units will certainly erupt another set of conflict groups that will also unseat other political appointees.
Interesting. Let's hope we don't go into recycling such again. But let me take it now to you, Patience.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, is it acceptable for us to have an indigenous security outfit like that of the Ebubeagu, and also in the West we have Amoteku? So is it acceptable to have indigenous security outfit?
You see, it's not acceptable because we are not ready. We don't have that passion, we don't have that community, we don't have that capacity. If we had ready and we are ready, the federal government could have done something to even cushion, not allow this proliferation of smaller group. The Ametukum, the Agiyagu, all these are sectional and regional based security outfits that are dancing with the governor. So they are in love with the governor in such a way that they hunt whosoever he decides to be haunted. So ideally, the federal government should have been in the pole to prevent the offshoots and the other proliferation of this. And because of the incapacitation of the federal government, and that is why each and every region and each and every state governor is seeing the alternative way to prevent and protect the lives and property of his community. So ideally, they should not be in place if the government is doing what it said. It's not acceptable. It's unconstitutional. But if there were issues with such, the federal government should be in the forefront in addressing this issue of insecurity.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Hussaini. But before we get into the major story we have next, there's something we have here on ASU's track, and I want to come to you straight, Chuba. This ASU is saying we will not be subjected to blackmail by the Minister of Labour. Now, interesting times ahead, some would say, even the aviation sector, NANS, even everyone is ready to participate in the NLC trade union strike for 26 and 27 thereabout. But the issue here is when ASU say they cannot be blackmailed into, we already have a sect that has broken out of them, who are saying they are not going to participate in this strike. So who is blackmailing who as it is?
In fairness, like I said earlier, we have a federal government who came into power by propaganda. In a system where it is not about to say about the protest. If they want to join the strike, when the president does not receive the alert or does not get the checkbooks to sign, both from the Ministry of Petroleum and all of it, on certain days, only then and then I know the president will wake up from that sleep. But saying that he's still going to sign the monies and transactions, say, oh, today was a bad trade day, as usual. The president doubles as a president of this country and a minister of petroleum. But both the economy of this country and the petroleum industry are as good as dead. So it is pertinent to say, and it is not out of place to say, that we have a president who, the normal movie says, missing in action. He's missing in action. He's not connected with the Nigerian people, but he's just enjoying the largesse that comes with the office. And whether we like it or yes, ASU saying that they cannot be blackmailed, they already be blackmailed, whether I like it or not. I have blackmailed them before. I'm blackmailing them again. If all your team of professors, Vivian, in fairness to you, how many VCs, registrars, directors have their wards schooling in Nigeria? How many ministers and their and their SAs have their wards schooling in
Why are you
Nigeria?
doing this to me?
I treat you,
It's blowouts, but I mean, why you shouldn't do this to me, Chuba.
The beauty of blowout is this: you called us out, and whether you like it or not, you already out. That's why you call us out, and so we have equally brought ourselves out to equally face
Blowouts.
and to blow it out. Now,
But I can't answer your question.
You can go ahead.
I can't.
If you can't, okay. If you say you can't, if all the ministers, honorable members, and the people that are pretending to be canvassing for the interest of the Nigerian students all have their words schooling outside the country and the shores of Nigeria, permit me to say, if this this strike goes for another 366 days, an entire year, it has little or no effect on them. The people that are affected should stand up, and that is what I mean. I'm so pained with the leadership of the present day now. I'm so pained with the leadership of the present day women organizations, because they come out for protest for baseless issues, whereas the most salient of them as heralded by Honorable Segun Sogun, had been kept aloof. Nobody cares about it. And whether I would like it or not, they will just keep dilly. When ASU wants to go and see, go for a meeting, where do they stay? Do they stay in their cars or do they stay in normal hotels? No, the federal government accommodate. What's it called? How they call it? Estapos are given. And at the end of the day, these meetings, I would love to even be part of the meeting. That is the kind of position we find ourselves. And it's a pitiable situation because I tell you, without my words, ASU, no need to come out, no need to make the headlines. You already compromised. But however, let's just, like, we are a faithful country. Trust, we are religious. However, from news services, we are waiting for God to do the needful. When we can do what is exactly expected of us.
All right, let's quickly go to the last story we have for this morning. Ade cannot wait to get into this, but let me get it to the people. This is on insecurity. We've conducted major investigations on Boko Haram financiers. This according to the federal government. The federal government said it has conducted major analytical operation that was focused on individuals financing the Boko Haram terrorist group and its affiliates in the country. The government, which disclosed this at the opening session of a 5-day compliance summit organized by the Intergovernmental Action Group Against Money Laundering in West Africa, GIABA, said it had so far requested from 28 countries for more information about the suspected terror financiers. The Director General of the Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, Mr. Mohammed Jia, added that government received responses from countries including Benin, Cameroon, Chad, Ghana, and Niger. The NFIU board said the intelligence report submitted to the government led to formation of interagency operation, which resulted in degrading of Boko Haram activities. He went on to say, I am happy to intimate this gathering that the Chad Platform on Terrorism Financing last week expanded its membership to 11 countries, active members as Nigeria, Chad, Cameroon, Mali, Burkina Faso, Togo, Niger, and Benin, and observers as Ghana, Guinea, and Central African Republic. He said the meetings will now be holding every 3 months with the Chad Basin and Sahel countries. This new synergy is good for both experience sharing and operational success of security agencies. The Director General of Financial Intelligence Units, Mr. Mohammed Jia, added that government received the responses from countries including Benin, Cameroon, Chad, Ghana, and Niger. The NFIU said the intelligence report submitted to government led to formation of interagency operations, which resulted in degrading of Boko Haram. Now, the Attorney General of the Federation, Minister of Justice, Mr. Malami Abubakar, said last September insisted that investigation to unravel those behind activities of insurgents in the country had reached advanced stage. And now they are saying we have conducted major investigation on Boko Haram financiers. You know, while I was reading this, I was hoping that we could say, okay, these are the names. But now over to you, Ade.
Vivian, if you permit me to just drop 1 or 2 words on this.
But for Chuba, not for you.
Okay, I give in. So let me take it to you, Comrade Chuba. The federal government before now had claimed that they had tactically defeated Boko Haram, and this statement had become stale about 2 years ago. Here we have another one. The federal government has now appeared to be some set of persons who usually come out when they have a major lashing, a major setback. If there wasn't a Kuje jailbreak, maybe they would not have been saying this. What do you think? Doesn't this, go in the line of saying that it points us to some government who is not responsible in its action and activities? Because definitely, like Vivian was pointing out, I was hoping to see the names of some persons, but what we had, in fact, the entirety of this story just talks about being a member of a treaty.
I really would not always, I always pray Why do I say that? Under is very what? The currency of Gambia, currency of Zambia, the currency of every nation you can make mention of. Even Gambia and Zambia. Gambia's one kawacha is 9 naira. Zambia one kawacha is 26 naira. Not to talk about the Morocco dinar, which is 176 naira. Now, what will anyone in good conscience come out in public domain or space to applaud this administration of this government today for? Truly, to be sincere with you, before the administration emerged, we had insecurity, no doubt, but it was domiciled in a place, and it was being managed to the best minimum. And we don't want to even go back to statements and postures of these administrations and our leaders in respect to those times, because we once had someone from this administration who once said to the Nigerian people, an attack on Boko Haram is an attack on the north. We once had someone who was nominated by the terrorists should be their spokesperson or their mediator with the government. And today we are seeing some semblance of this terrorism being pampered by this administration. And we talk about the former general. Permit me to say, whatever we have read out today was just a lengthy read. Vivian took her time to read out an empty script for all of us, and the world listened.
It's not.
No name.
It's not me. It's what we're giving, sir. It's not Vivian.
In fairness to you,
okay.
I just said what I said. The truth is, not one name was mentioned, and in all, you know when this Interpol sent us this name? It's about a year, 2 months now. And in all this 1 year, 2 months, we are still investigating, and we have not been able to say, okay, Interpol was right, and these are the names. But we, this country, had the technical know-how to arrest people in Kenya, arrest people in Benin on information gathering. So the insincerity of this government stares us on the face like you're looking at me right now. So to be sincere with you, I did not say anything from this is an empty read. Vivian just took our time to take our own time so that we can equally have some time to be thrown out or wasted as the case may be. That's just one thing I just did this morning.
Apologies on behalf of all of us on Atlantic Television Network. We apologize to you, Comrade Chuba Obuzo. Forgive us. It's Nigeria.
It is your job.
It's Nigeria.
It's a pitiable situation. Your job is almost government and empty work, because now you took our time to read out this very lengthy. We expect, like you said, we expect that at the bottom line of this whole cast, we're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4 names, or if just one. But at the end of the day, an empty read again. And who is going to be hosting the meeting in Nigeria? Spending money, let everybody come and gather and drink and eat, and they go, because why? They don't know how money is being made. That's why they drag us to this place we are in.
So once again, on behalf of Atlantic Television, we apologize for what Nigeria has given to us this morning. All right, Comrade Chuba Obuzo, it's been an honor having you. It's always a blowout moment, fantastic blowout moment having you on ATM Blood. So thank you again for being part of the show this morning. All right, thank you very much. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back on Anchor's Roundup. In our time on ATN Icons. Here, we present you legends celebrated for their heroism in different fields and serve as role models today. ATN Icons, showing every Sunday 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Atlantic Television Network, StarTimes DTH channel 194, ATN Live on Google App Store, Facebook Atlantic Television Network, YouTube Atlantic Television Network, Instagram Atlantic TV Network, Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. For sponsorship, 0810-634-1777. ATN Icons, celebrating the giants of our time.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains. Through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries.
ATN Atlantic Television Network this morning. But let's get to quickly have our anchors roundup. We're going straight to Lagos with Christopher Lucky.
Thank you, Vivian. My exciting moment goes to Chimamanda when she was complimenting Peter Obi, and then the part that she said that she was ready to vote for him come 2023 elections. I think that part is exciting because she seemed to be very learned, and then for her to have chosen Obi for her own reason and sent a whole lot of message to Nigerians. That's okay by me.
All right, thank you, Christopher. Patience, Others.
Thank you, Vivian. Oh, the pick for me was from the Independent National Electoral Commission, talking about them working so hard for the 2023 general election. I'll say yes, that's a good one coming from the electoral body.
All right, thank you, Patience Obots. And of course, Ade, you've been itching. Let's have it. Let's have it.
Before I explode from within, let me just quickly rush to say that I am somewhat disappointed with the statement we just read concerning the federal government saying they've gotten the names of some persons and they are working on security and the rest of that. I mean, it just defines one thing for us today, that the federal government happens to be playing a charade with the life of Nigerians, looking at the fact that being a government with a constituted authority, their primary responsibility is to protect life and properties, and now they are running foul to that particular obligation. So it's a pain situation for me this morning, and I'm hoping that the right narrative will be taken.
All right, thank you very much, Adejumo Adekunle. For me, primarily is the fact that from Mungono, who I think sometime last year came out to tell us that the list for the guys who are members, who are sponsors of Boko Haram, has been released. Just like this morning, we read the stories and we got nothing from it. We are back at it again. The big question right now is, are you expecting anything from these governments? It's been about 8 years, approximately 8 years, if we just look at the fact that this is literally election months to preparing for elections. So what should we really expect anything from them? So this is almost the handover moments. Are you expecting anything from these governments? I'm not, and because I'm not, I'm working hard to follow the political conversations, to look at the candidates. Who are they? What are they going to bring to the table? What are their antecedents? What should we expect from them? And I think that is where we all should come in at this point. I have no expectations, so I wouldn't be disappointed. But again, it would have been fair if they could actually try something to ensure that, oh, in this aspect, this worked. Whatever the case, Nigerians, have you registered for your PVC? We have about less than 2 weeks to the end of the CRV exercise. So go and try your best. Take permission if you need to. Even if it's going to cost you a day or two pay, do that. Go and get your PVC. Hold it. It's become the most prizeful smart device you have on your hand, right? And you cannot afford not to have one. Go and get registered. Follow political conversations. Ensure that you know what is going on and how these things will go about, because that is the only way we can change the narrative. Whoever you decide to commit that one vote to determines what your life, the outcome of our nationhood is going to be in 2023 going forward. So whatever it is, follow the political conversation. It's been a beautiful moment this morning on ATN Blowout, but the conversation is not over. Let's get over to our social media handles, pages, and begin to and continue the conversation from there. Your opinion are very important to us, of course. We have to give weight for ATN Sports Talk, but our social media handles, Twitter, we are at Atlantic TV Net. Facebook and YouTube is Atlantic Television Network. Instagram is at Atlantic TV Network. Remember that peace and unity are always the pathway to progress. Have a fantastic day. In our time on ATN Icons. Here, we present you legends celebrated for their heroism in different fields and serve as role models today. ATN Icons, showing every Sunday 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Atlantic Television Network, StarTimes DTH channel 194, ATN Live on Google App Store, Facebook, Atlantic Television Network, YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram, Atlantic TV Network, Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. For sponsorship, 0810-634-1777. ATN Icons, celebrating the giants of our time.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
The people, the candidates, the party, the campaigns. What really makes an election here? Enough of the rhetorics. It's time for issue-based politics. 2023 elections. Who are the candidates? What do you know about them? Take a seat, relax, and join us for the 2023 elections on Atlantic Television Network, StarTimes, DTH, Channel 194, or ATN Live on Google Play Store and all our social media platforms. Twitter is at Atlantic TV Net. Facebook and YouTube is at Atlantic Television Network. On Instagram is at Atlantic TV Network. Elections 2023 from Mondays to Fridays at 8 p.m. Election 2023. We the people have a stake.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing. Honourable, you human
on a point of order.
Honourable, you
They are not picking our calls.
So no agreement with the EU